Morning, everybody. Well, we're in day 4 of lockdown, and you've seen some of the previous 2 videos that I've done about a frustrated sailor on lockdown. Well, I'm not really frustrated. I'm frustrated in the sense that I can't go sailing and I can't run the school and I'm not able to teach, etc. But I want to just share with you some of the things that I've learnt over the years in terms of my sailing. And there are some useful mental, psychological tools which we really need at this time. I'm fortunate in that I have a very nice cottage and I've got a nice garden, and I can do stuff outside within the confines of my property. A lot of you can't. So I want to share with you a tool that I found incredibly useful, and something that I would encourage you to do if you don't already have something similar. And what I'm talking about is something called the Wheel of Life. So in a nutshell, I'd normally do this exercise around about the middle of December, so that I have a pretty clear idea of what I want to do and where I want to go and what I want to achieve in various aspects of my life during the course of the next year. So I've drawn the Wheel of Life, and I'll include some stills so you can see better. But in a nutshell, this is what you have. Okay, that's just a rough, gives you a rough idea of what's going on. You'll see we have short, medium and long-term goals in the top right-hand side. You've got me in the center, and then you've got all the spokes that make up the key categories of my life, from career, work, to hobbies, to finances, savings, my mental and spiritual development, including social responsibility, my relationships, and what's the other one? Health and exercise. So what you do is you take a couple of pages, you sit down somewhere quiet, and with a pen and paper, you start off with what for you is probably the most important aspect. For most people it would be career work. So you'd sit and you'd write down career work and you brainstorm whatever comes into your head. You write down, no matter how stupid it may sound, you write down every single thing that you'd like to achieve in terms of your career and your work. Doesn't matter how stupid it sounds, how ridiculous it is, you just write it down. Then you take the next thing. You look at finances, stroke savings. What do you want to achieve in terms of finances, in terms of savings, etc. Then you look at your relationships. I'm talking about your friends, your loved one, your partner, your family, all those aspects that make up your relationship. You look at those and you break it down. And so you do the same thing with health and exercise. You look at each of those key areas, all those spokes that make up your life. So you'll end up with a whole lot of pieces of paper with each of these dozens of goals that you want to achieve in each of those key aspects of your life. For example, under mental and spiritual development, mental could be, I want to learn Spanish, or I want to play the guitar, or I want to learn something new, or I want to get a degree, or whatever it is. Social responsibility, I want to work in a hospital, or I want to help my neighbors, or I want to become just a voluntary worker, etc., etc. All of those things you look at in detail. And your hobbies, you know, your hobby, what they are. And then you break down, once you've got all this done, which will take quite some time, you then start off with a new set and you say, okay, for short term, for the next year, from say January 2020, or from now, lockdown period, call it March, end of March, call it 1st of April, 1st of April to the 31st of December 2020, I want to, which of these goals in each of the categories, so you write down career work, you choose 1 or 2 or 3 key goals in each of those categories. And be realistic. At this stage, you can think to yourself and say, well, I will realistically be able to do X, Y, and Z in this category or in that category or in that category. If you can't see you doing much in one or other categories, you write down at least one goal that you think is achievable in each of the categories. So you end up with a blueprint which is not cast in stone. Remember, you can change your goals at any stage, but you've got a blueprint for your life in terms of looking at all the key aspects that make up that wheel, that make you up, so that your whole life becomes balanced and you become more fulfilled, happier, more together in terms of where you want to go. So I hope in a sense that this has given you a guideline. I think the next few weeks of lockdown is a perfect idea, perfect time in which to really go inside and say, okay, what do I want to achieve? How do I want to live my life in the next, call it 4, 8, 6, 10 months? We're now nearly 1st of April, so January, the first quarter of 2020 is already at an end. So now the lockdown period is the great way to look at some of these aspects. And if you have any questions, please feel free to contact me. My website is www.capetownsailing.co.za. You can reach me by email on info@capetownsailing.co.za, or you can phone me on my WhatsApp. The numbers will be on the website. So I hope that when I talk about the frustrated sailor, I'm a frustrated sailor who's fortunate enough to not be locked down on a boat that can't move. I've got friends that are at the Royal Cape Yacht Club as we speak. They've decided to stay on their boat, and the problem is they're not even allowed to move their boat. They can't even sail out of the harbor and go on a day's sail. That's really what I call frustrating. So I was fortunate enough to choose this option of coming to my cottage here and being able to look at aspects. So it's difficult. Yeah, it's difficult. It's easier, I think, when you have family and you have friends or you have a loved one close to you that you can do stuff with. I'm not in that fortunate position. And so it becomes critical for people that live on their own to be productive, to not just eat, drink, and be merry for tomorrow we die. Who knows? It may well be the case, but there's a lot to eating and drinking and being merry, and there's a lot more to life than just those key things. So I hope the Wheel of Life will encourage you to look at your life in a whole lot more detail. Examine yourself, look where you're going, what you want to achieve, look at all the things that make up your life. You might have different spokes, but the big thing is to at least address each of the key areas in your life and try and balance the wheel so that you live a more productive life. Those of you that are fortunate that have medium-term goals, say 1 to 5 years or 3 to 5 years, etc., or even long-term, looking at 5, 10 years down the line, you can break the wheel of life down into whichever way you want to work at it in terms of your goals. And then once you've set out your goals, you can then achieve the next stage and then say, well, what are the steps that I need to take in order to achieve those goals? And then, of course, the Japanese concept of Kaizen comes into play there quite usefully, where you take a specific goal and you break the goal down into small achievable steps that you need to take along the way in order to achieve that. So, getting back to sailing, it's a passion. I love what I do. I love the ocean. I love teaching. I love sailing. I love sharing my knowledge, learning new things, etc. At the moment, I am nowhere near the boat. At the moment, I'm not able to do any of those activities, but there is so much else in my life and so much else in all of our lives that enriches you, that you need to look at the abundance of life around you. It's not just your work. It's not just your family. It's not just your hobbies. There's a whole lot of interesting things that make up our lives as human beings. And we need to work together, we need to stand together, we need to get through this together. And I'm in lockdown, I'm stuck here, so I'm trying to find creative ways in which to share my experiences that I've had over the years, and I'm hoping that this will be of useful benefit to some of you. Okay, so until the next time, from the Frustrated Sailor and the Whale Whisperer, hasta la vista, baby. Hasta la vista.